You've probably been wondering, is there a reason you've picked the ugliest race in the game? No, wait, I'm just kidding. In my last video, I skipped over explaining aliens, and so many of you raided my comment section and requested this video. Well, I've finally collected all the information I could, and almost every alien is completely changing how you play the game, for the better or the worse. Now, before we get started, I wanted to say I could have made a mistake or left things out, so if you find a problem or have a question, leave a comment. Now, while not every alien was created equally, I still added timestamps, so if you are looking for a specific subrace, you can just skip right to it. Lastly, thank you to the tester that helped gather this information. You are credited in the description. Now, let's get started. First, I'm gonna go over what every alien race gets universally, which is not a long list, but it's pretty important to know. Now, all aliens get access to 4 different forms. The first, Kaioken, the next, Potential Unleashed, Mystic, and then Max Power. Kaioken is unlocked at level 25 for 3k Zenny, Potential Unleashed is unlocked at level 70 for 4k Zenny, and Mystic is at level 153 for 8k Zenny. And lastly, Max Power is a drop from a world boss. This is really it, except for all aliens get access to the Inspire skill, which is in the skills shop, and it's a pretty nice party heal. But other than that, I want all of you to know aliens will likely probably get updated in the future, because some aliens kind of feel like they should get, I don't know, like a little bit more. Now, on to the Beerus subrace. This variant gets 1 stat point in all stats every 2 levels except for key damage and key resistance. They get more passive points in key damage than the rest of their attributes at the sacrifice of gaining less key resistance than the other ones as well. This is actually pretty useful for a key build, and I could see this race getting out of hand later on. Unfortunately, this is all that the Beerus race really has. Other than that, I think it's a pretty viable choice. Next up, the APPULE subrace. I really don't know how to say that, but I'm just gonna say APPULE. This variant gets 1 stat point in every attribute every 2 levels except for melee damage and melee resistance. APPULEs get more passive points in melee damage over time than the rest of their stats, but less melee resistance than the rest of their stats as well. This subrace is basically the opposite of the Beerus race, and is pretty decent if you don't mind being severely chopped. Also, don't do anything other than a melee build on this. I don't know why anybody would go anything else, but yeah, it's an okay choice if you feel like being ugly. Now for the YARDRATs. This variant actually has a standard stat gain, but gets other benefits. First off, YARDRATs get a whole form called Yardration Gigantification as a drop from one of the world bosses, although I don't know how good it is. So if you do get it, comment and tell me how good it is. Next, YARDRATs begin with the instant transmission skill, which is honestly incredibly useful. So despite one of the heads being very chopped and hideous, this is probably one of the best races. Now this is going to be a short one. Cybermen have a standard stat gain, 1 in all attributes every 2 levels, just like the YARDRATs, but this subrace also gets access to self-destruct right off spawn, which is a pretty hefty amount of damage, I suppose, but I don't think any other races get this skill, so it kind of makes the Cybermen race okay to pick, so hey, pick it if you want to, I guess. Next, the Pikon subrace. This subrace has a standard stat gain except for key max and speed. Pikons gain more passive points in key max than the rest of their attributes at the expense of having less passive points in speed. Now, in my opinion, this is poop. Having less speed just means you can never run, and later in the game cycle, you will probably get speed blitzed by everyone. And on top of that, you don't really need key max builds, so this is a pretty mid choice all around. Just don't pick it. The next 2 I'll talk about are the generic aliens and the mushrooms subrace. Unfortunately, both of these subraces currently have no passive, and they both have the standard stat gain, which is really annoying considering my second slot is literally a shroom race. But the devs have mentioned before giving shrooms a passive So maybe we will eventually get something pretty good. Hopefully. I'll need it. Next, the Dedoria subrace. This subrace is by far the ugliest of all races and is somehow the tankiest as well. Dedorias get increased passive points in both key resistance and melee resistance, but with an immense problem, they get reduced passive points in both key damage and melee damage. GG, there is no build to make this good at all. You are just straight up a sponge. Can't take damage, can't deal damage. Lastly, I'll go over the Burter subrace. This subrace gets 1 point in all attributes every 2 levels, except for melee damage and speed. You'll get more points in speed than the rest of your stats at the trade-off of having less points in melee damage. While I would never pick this myself, I can see why somebody probably would. Literally just run a key build. In conclusion, all alien races play pretty different and most are build specific. The best one is obviously shrooms. Hands down, we all know it, they are beautiful, but join my Discord, comment if you have a question, and watch my next video.